Hey everybody, welcome back to the Crack One Open podcast. I'm your host, Big Bob, with my co-host.
D-Rock, what's cracking, everybody?
What's going on, dude?
Oh, man, just trying to escape this heat. My mom's in town. I live in Clearwater, Florida, for anyone wondering. So it's a big destination spot, and she's in town. She's been dragging my ass all around, and it's like 105 degrees, so...
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm hiding inside because it's hot as fuck today.
I don't blame you, dude. Soak up that air conditioning. Yeah, I got some yard work to do myself a little later, but I'm going to put it off for a bit until the old lady gets home so she can help me out.
All right, yeah.
She's on the whacker, and I'm on the mower, you know what I'm saying?
She's whacking you off?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but, man, it's been a pretty weird week. I thought I was getting sick a little bit early on when we were gaming, and man, it turns out I just needed an ice cold shower, and it fixed me right up. I had like the sweats and everything. I really thought I was done for.
Yeah, we were gaming when you started feeling like extra weird. I was worried it was that Delta B52.7 COVID shit. I didn't know what was going on.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm gonna need a vaccination passport pretty soon.
Shit.
Just to get online. But so I was online and I was scrolling through some social media channels and I saw that these people were talking about something called the Mandella Effect. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of it and I've seen a couple of them, but yeah, I've heard of it.
It's fucking mind-blowing. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's like when a large group of people believe something to be true that's actually not. And that some people believe that it's even along the lines of alternate universes, like merging together. So like things that are true in one universe are now not true in this universe that we're in. So it's really fucking trippy. And I had a couple ones that blew my mind. I want to see if they blew your mind as well. So, sorry if you can hear my mic. I just hit it. But so the first one, do you remember Curious George?
Yes.
That little monkey from that, he's like a cartoon?
Yeah.
So, do you remember him with a tail or without a tail?
With a tail.
So, he has actually never had a tail, ever. And,
Really?
Yeah, he's never had a tail. It's fucking wild.
I used to watch that all the time, and, like, I had books and, like, shit about him all the time when I was a kid.
I know. I when I was doing that, when I was writing these down, I actually called my dad. I'm like, did Curious George have a tail? Because we would always look at the books together, and he's like, yeah, definitely. And turns out he's never had a tail. It's insane to me.
Yeah, that's bonkers. I used to watch that shit all the time.
I know. Maybe it is alternate universes. A couple other ones that are pretty crazy. My favorite board game of all time is Monopoly. And do you remember the Monopoly man with a monocle or without a monocle?
With one.
He's never had a monocle.
What?
Yeah, he's never had a monocle, and they've actually shown all the different games and stuff that he's been featured on, and he's never had a monocle ever.
I'm looking that one up.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like for the video version, we actually should pop some of these examples up so people could see them themselves.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's crazy to me because I've loved that game forever, and I could swear to God on everything that he's on a monocle, and like with that mustache and his little top hat, it feels right that there should be a monocle there.
Holy shit, he doesn't. I thought that was like the fucking staple of the Monopoly guy was the monocle.
I know.
Read me off some more. Come on, blow my mind some more.
So, Silence of the Lambs. You ever see that movie?
No.
So it's about Hannibal Lecter, some guy who eats people, and there's this girl in there, and her name's Clarice, and everybody makes this statement from the movie that he goes, "Hello, Clarice," and he never said that ever, and everybody from who's seen Silence of the Lambs claims that he says it and makes that statement all the time.
Oh shit.
But
yeah,
if you've never seen the movie,
yeah.
It's pretty interesting. But so, do you remember the Berenstain Bears? It's like that little book that we were kids.
No.
It's like a little family of bears.
Nope. Not ringing a bell to me.
Bob.
Not a big reading guy, am I right?
It's a fucking picture book mostly with like a sentence on each page.
Not a big picture
Still
guy.
too much for you?
Yeah, it was too much. I'm overstimulated just thinking about it.
I'm not picture guy, not reading guy. I'm more video guy.
Yeah.
But so this book is called or everyone says the book is called the Berenstain Bears, but it's never been called the Berenstain Bears ever. It's the Berenstain Bears, spelled completely different, and everybody mispronounces it and chooses the alternate spelling for it.
Huh. What do they spell it like? What did they think it was? EEN? And it's really EIN?
It was like
or IN?
STEIN, and it's STAIN.
Oh.
So it's like instead of steen, it's stain. So it's.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it completely changes the whole word. And then, do you know Pikachu from Pokemon?
Yes.
Can you picture him in your mind?
Yes.
So, if you think of his tail specifically, do you think he has a black mark at the top of his tail or not?
For some reason, I'm getting a black mark like in the middle of his tail.
So
like a zag in
he actually has no black mark at all on his tail. At the very base of it, there's a little bit of brown, but a large group of people believe that there's a black mark on the top of his tail, and I completely remember that. And
the brown at the tail is obviously because he accidentally shit on it, right?
Yeah, little skitties. It's
gotcha.
When your hair's too long, it just gets crumpled back there.
I gotcha. Just wanted to clear that up.
So it's some of that stuff.
Is a Mandela Effect thing? I forget what the hell it is, but in Star Wars where Vader says, "Luke, I am your father," isn't that not really what he says? Doesn't he say something else?
He says Luke, I'm your father, and I know what you're talking about. I was reading about that one, but I kind of remembered it the way that they said it was.
Oh, okay.
But the one that also got me messed up was, Oreos.
Yes.
Yeah,
big fan.
Favorite cookie, but double stuffed. They do you remember how they spelled double stuffed? Was it just regular or not?
I would imagine, yeah.
It's actually, instead of 2 F's and stuff, there's only 1.
Why?
Isn't that so weird?
Was it strategic or was it like a misprint?
I don't know, but I always remember it being stuffed, like double stuff.
Wait, so it's double stuff, not double stuffed.
It's double stuff.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was stuffed.
No, but then
hell?
it's double stuff, but and the the one that it really is, I guess there's only 1 F and not 2. Isn't that it's fucking wild to me.
My whole life has been a lie. I'm sure there's some even crazier ones out there that would probably
Fruit Loops. Do you know Fruit Loops?
What about Fruit Loops?
So how would you spell Fruit Loops? Just fruit.
I know. Isn't that one spelled different? Isn't it FROOT and then loops?
Yeah, and then but it actually has the cereal in there. But a lot of people believe it was fruit, just spelled out fruit.
Right. Yeah, I remember that from looking at the boxes, just because I was a big Fruit Loop guy.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, "What about Fruit Loops?" I got upset. I was like, "What about it?
They've never existed.
They've never been a thing, dude. Sorry to tell you."
Yeah. But yeah, there's just so many fucking examples out there. I mean, we could go on and on. But, do you think that there are alternate universes that have crossed over and that's why some people believe that? Or do you believe that is just a misconception?
I 100% think that there's alternate universes. And my reasoning for that isn't really related to Mandela Effect, but personally I think that's where deja vu comes from and stuff like that. I think weird things that happen in your brain, like deja vu, for example, and just other things that you can't really explain that happen, and you know how people talk about manifestation and shit. I think a lot of that comes from an alternate universe and stuff like that, and a different timeline, and shit happens, and I believe that there's alternate universes for those reasons alone.
Yeah.
That's a whole other can of worms. I could
that's a whole can of worms.
Smoke a little bit of weed and go on for 2.5 hours about it, but we're not gonna do that.
And I don't mean to keep going on and on about this, but I did remember one more. Do you know Fruit of the Loom?
Yes, that's one of the Mandela effects that I am familiar with.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, so A lot of people remember Fruit of the Loom with fruit in front with a cornucopia in the back, something you would see at like Thanksgiving. Oh, and then the other logo is just a bunch of fruit. And I remember with the cornucopia.
Me too.
And they say that's never been a thing, and it's always been the one without the fruit.
And I think they're full of shit. I think this is a big, like, governmental experiment to see if we can all go crazy about this shit. Because I 100% remember back in the day there being a cornucopia. But it's weird, though.
Dude, I know. It blows
like,
my mind that, like, all these, like, such a large group of people believe all of these things, and we're just wrong. Like,
yeah.
there has to be some kind of explanation.
Because, dude, you just actually commented on this before we started. I'm always wearing a black shirt. I think in every single episode of this podcast, I've been wearing a black shirt, even before the videos. All I buy is Fruit of the Loom t-shirts. Just black t-shirts. And I have hundreds of them. And as I've been buying them now, I, like, am aware that there's not one there. But back, like, when my mom would take me to Walmart when I was a kid and get me, like, underwear, socks, and stuff for school, I remember back then, like, when I was way younger, there being
on, like, those plastic wrapping ones?
Yes,
like,
on the plastic
where you'd
wraps.
Buy your underwear in there, it would be on the plastic wrap, yeah. Because I always remember the other one, with it being on the tag, it was always without the cornucopia. But like, on the pack, it would always be there.
Right.
Like,
and, like, as I've been buying them now myself, and as of late, I noticed that it's not there. I thought it was, like, something stupid, like a rebranding or, you know, new logo thing that they did. I never thought anything of it until I saw a clip of Tim the Tap Man doing, like, a Mandella Effect video before, and that was, like, I clicked off of it after the Fruit of the Loom thing, and I was like, what the fuck? It was never there in the first... And that's how I know about that one. But, yeah, I think it's...
If it's never existed, who is creating this logo with the cornucopia back there? And why does it look so legit?
And why does so many people remember it being there from before that was even a thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it.
Same with everything, like the Fruit Loop stuff. Like, there's all these alternate stuff, and, like, I don't think people are going to go out of their way just to make this, and, like, and to mess with people. Like, that's too much of an elaborate plot for no gain.
But if that was the case, kudos to whoever did that, because you got a lot of people.
Yeah, you fooled us all. But jumping off of that, over to the NFL, some big old news from one of the hottest teams in the AFC. The Buffalo Bills just gave Josh Allen a massive 6-year contract for $258 million, and I believe $150 million is guaranteed.
Well deserved, buddy. He's a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah, he's really probably one of the. I think he's really going to cement himself this year as probably the top 3, the top 4 quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
Yeah, so that was a 6-year extension, I believe. So he probably had 1 year left, right? On his original.
I don't know if it was an extension or not. I just know they inked a new deal for him before the season started to make sure, you know, that could hold a lot of weight over people's heads. Like, oh man, I gotta have a great fucking season. A lot of pressure on yourself. So just getting it out of the way is such a testament to what the Bills are trying to do. And just really building it around Josh Allen and not having to worry about anything else.
Yeah, because I remember seeing a couple months ago that he wanted to take a team-friendly deal to secure all the talent that was around him and that he wanted around him. And that first of all, I thought that was incredibly awesome for a new quarterback, a couple years in the league, to be like, team-friendly deal. Like, these are the years where you make your fucking money. And you like solidify your fortune and your generational wealth. And for him to say and even just suggest and push for a team-friendly deal, first of all, spoke to his character and how much he loves the Bills. I respect the hell out of that. But I also think it's crazy that he wanted a team-friendly deal and they just broke him off. Like, I think that's awesome. Like, they broke him off a big piece of bread.
Yeah, and I also think they're also doing themselves a favor too, though. Just due to with the way the salary cap is this year, it's going to go up massive next year. So just due to that big difference with COVID and everything else, that I think they're actually saving themselves a lot of money here, and it will be a team friendly deal. Maybe not for this current salary cap, but for all future salary cap and over the next 6 years, it's going to give them a lot of flexibility to really push money around to different players. And 6 years is long enough where they can backlog it to later years too. so where it's not as bad. So they could keep their good players like Stephon Diggs and a couple other people.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool how big the contract was, and also, like, there's some. I don't know if anything has transpired since then, but I saw an article that the owner, I don't know if it was the owner of the Bills or what, but there was some talk about the Bills potentially moving to Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I saw that
because of the stadium or something. It had something to do with a taxpayer-funded stadium or something, and there was a disagreement about something there. And if they go to Austin, I think that would be cool, because then that money will really keep coming in, especially with what's going on in New York right now. Because we'll see what happens with the cap and all that, but back to the contract thing, like, this kind of sets a precedent, something that scares me for newer quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield. That's a big ass contract, and the Browns have acquired some pretty fucking wild talent and a lot of them are coming up on contract years with Baker, and we'll see what happens. But I'm happy for Josh Allen, but it kind of sets a standard for that draft class, because a lot of good quarterbacks came out of there, and I feel like Baker's probably going to want more than that. That's just my feeling.
Let's see, he might want more than that. And sorry for any background noise. When we're dealing with the number one bedroom podcast in the world, we got families making noises in the background. But
it's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen. But I think with Baker, I mean, he's definitely not to the caliber of Josh Allen in terms of quality of quarterback. Not saying he's not a good one, but I really would put Josh Allen as an A and Baker as a B. And when I was looking at the contract details, so it kind of breaks down to Josh Allen making like $43-44 million a year right now. And when I look at Dak Prescott making $40 million a year, that man has done nothing, absolutely nothing. And I'm like, what a fucking disgrace for Dak Prescott to be making the same amount of money as a quarterback that Josh Allen's caliber. I would put Dak Prescott as a C quarterback.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't get the hype. Like, people need to quit drinking the fucking Kool-Aid that the Dallas Cowboys are selling.
Yeah, because there's something in that shit, and whatever it is, I want it.
And I mean, talk about starting your season off on the wrong foot, losing to my fucking Pittsburgh Steelers, our second and third stringers. And
I don't know where the fuck I was. I just found out that there was a fucking a preseason game Thursday. Like,
it was the Hall of Fame game.
I knew that was going on. I didn't know there was the first preseason game happened after that.
That was the preseason game.
The Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, it was the Steelers versus the Cowboys.
Oh, that makes sense.
Bob's big dumb guy, huh?
So there was no actual Hall of Fame game going on.
They played it at Canton.
So they played the game at the Hall of Fame.
They call that the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, okay. Is that a regular thing?
Every year.
Dude, what?
Yep.
I'm such a fat casual, dude.
Yeah, big casual
what the
guy.
Fuck?
But you kind of alluded to it earlier with Baker Mayfield and them having some issue, potentially having some issues with contracts running up. And I know they solidified one recently with a contract extension with Nick Chubb, getting that 3-year contract extension.
Yeah, it was a 3-year contract extension. I'm not sure on the number that he had.
Sure it was 36 mil and 20 mil was guaranteed. I didn't have the year written down, but
36 mil a year.
36 mil for over 3 years, 20 mil guaranteed.
Oh wow!
So it'll be about 12 mil. He could make about 12 mil a year, but it could break down to about maybe about 6.3 a year if he gets the minimum.
Wow.
I believe. Bad math. I'm not sure.
I know they. I saw an article that said he declined it was either a 5 or a 6-year extension, which made me a little concerned if that article was true. But the Browns locking him in for 3 more years is fucking awesome, because that dude is a goddamn force.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. I'm not a Browns fan, but this dude, I mean, he is just impressive to watch. I was looking up some of his stats, and he's almost like, so the last 2 years he's had over 1,000 yards a season. In his rookie year, he was only 4 yards short. So he's pretty much 1,000 yard rusher per year. And in 2019, he almost had 1,500 yards, which is just unheard of today.
Yeah, I think last season he might have been out for a few games, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
I think so. I think he was out a couple games. I could be wrong.
Well, and he's sharing snaps with Kareem Hunt, which is just like, if he was your like 3 down back, and it's like, man, he's probably going to have a lot more yards than even that. But this way, it's at least it increases the longevity of how the performance that Nick Chubb can give you. But yeah, I think it's smart to get him locked in before he could have another big breakout year, because the Browns are one of those AFC teams like the Bills that are really close to doing something that I don't want them to, and that's going to a Super Bowl.
I for sure want them to, but I guess my hope is like the front office being able to find a way to keep this team together. Everybody on the team, both sides of the ball. Like,
what about Odell?
Well, you know my feelings on Odell. I'll keep it brief.
I know you hate Odell.
I'm not a big fan of him. I think we could. I guess now I don't have as much of a beef with him because we made up a lot of what I thought we should have gotten instead of Odell during offseason and free agency. We got a lot of those missing pieces over this offseason. So I don't have as much of a beef with us keeping Odell as I did last year, but I'm not a fan of him regardless. I think he's a diva. I think he put a lot of stress on Baker last year before he went out, and
you guys thrived without him.
Exactly. Like, it seemed to me that and now one of my buddies told me that you can look at it the way that I'm looking at it, and that way is Odell put a lot of stress on Baker. Baker wasn't throwing the ball well or clicking well with the team. And once Odell went out, I felt that stress got alleviated, and he started clicking with everybody and making better passes, better decisions, and led the team to a good season. But my buddy said you can look at it that way, or you can look at it as Baker. It was a fucked up beginning of the season, off season, and everything, and entire season. To be honest, nobody really had any certainty of it, and it just so happened that after Odell went down, he started getting in the groove of things, and everything started coming together, because of more time and with the team and playing with them and practicing, versus the off season. There was no practicing. They pretty much just went right into preseason, and that was so. I get that.
I think this year will tell.
Yeah, this year will for sure tell if he can carry some of that success over into this season from last with Odell in. Okay, I'll eat my words and I'll take it all back. But I do feel that he's a diva, and I do feel that he kind of puts a lot of stress where it's not needed. And I also feel that Baker looks at Odell as well as many other people do as a Hall of Fame receiver. And I think that it's on Baker's shoulder, like Baker's carrying it on his shoulders, Odell's fate to be that Hall of Fame receiver.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, it's yeah, you're definitely kind of in the relying on your QB, depending if you're going to be a Hall of Fame receiver, because everyone looked at Odell when he was at the Giants and he had Eli Manning. No matter what you think of him, he is a Hall of Fame receiver. He's the highest paid quarterback or highest paid NFL player ever in terms of total earnings so far. 2-time Super Bowl champ.
Eli
He's a
Manning
Hall of
is?
Famer. Yeah.
Holy shit, I didn't know that. Shout out Eli Manning.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a fucking Manning brother, so I mean, they're royalty in the NFL, and you have him throwing to you, so anyone's going to look good. So it's maybe not anybody, but most people, and they've had good wide receivers throughout. But so I'm definitely curious to see what this year looks like. I know he's coming off an injury, so who knows if he's going to be the same. But definitely a lot of uncertainty in the air.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see the Giants fight? Speaking of the Giants,
I did see the Giants fight. I'm not entirely sure what caused it. Do you have any more insight on that?
Yeah. So Corey Clement had a good run in I'm pretty sure it was the first padded practice that they had or whatever. So like full contact practice. He had a good run, broke through the line, got downfield, and Xavier McKinney hit him I don't really know who either of these people are. I don't follow the Giants. And Evan Ingram thought that it was a late hit, and I guess Jabril Peppers was in front of him, and he walked up and shoved him. I don't know if like Jabril was like cheering like good hit or what, but Ingram pushed Peppers, and then all hell just broke loose from there. I guess I read an article that said like the whole 90-man roster was like on the field, like I don't know if everybody was fighting, but like they were all on the field, you know, gathered around. And I haven't heard of this happening outside of high school. Like I've never even heard anybody that I know that played college football, even at smaller levels, doing this shit. But I guess the coach made them do goal line to goal line sprints for 2 minutes straight, and then made them do like push-ups for a long time, or a shit ton of push-ups. So I thought that was pretty funny. But
I think, what do you do in that situation? Like, I mean, Daniel Jones, your franchise quarterback, is down on the ground at the bottom of the fucking pile,
crawling
you see
out
the red,
of it.
you see the red jersey. You're like, that's our fucking franchise right now. So you better get his ass up. You know, you guys can keep fighting. Can you not fight on him? You guys are all fucking replaceable. But it's like, but how do you punish a professional players? Yeah, you could fine them, but that doesn't really hurt.
Can you though?
Some of them. What?
Can you though? Like, can a team fine a
definitely.
player? I thought the NFL could only fine.
I'm pretty sure a team could fine a player. I mean, they have power, and they can maybe suspend you and stuff like that. But now it's like, okay, now you're not only potentially hurting our quarterback, now we got to suspend you for a game, so now we're probably going to lose depending on what kind of position player you are. But you were talking about like the Indians, like Indian runs and the push-ups and the goal line sprints. Who the fuck? Yeah, I mean, I hated that shit. And who's going to put up with that when you're like, dude, I'm worth $50 million. I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah. And like when you're worth $50 million, especially a starter, and like somebody like Daniel Jones or whatever that you're relying on, your team's relying on, how are you not like, fuck you, I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Jonesy. Like, I'm not.
Fuck you, Jonesy.
Like, I would not run those sprints. My fat ass would not be running.
Well, and there are a couple of people who aren't. I mean, they just signed an offensive lineman. His name's Joe Looney, and they signed him a week ago. And he retired the day. Yeah, he fucking retired the day after the fight. He's like, push-ups? Nope. Sprinting? Nope. I mean, I'm pretty sure he came off an injury last year too. So he's like, I'm definitely not doing more than I fucking need to. And I mean, I really wouldn't want to go to the Giants either. But so, I mean, I think he's 30, 31 years old. So he's made his NFL money. He's okay. You're just you're playing with house money, and you're just trying to set up generational wealth at that point. But at that, like, if you don't want to run and you don't need to run, don't run.
Exactly. That's how I look at it. Like, I've never heard. First of all, I've never heard of an entire roster getting into a fight at practice. That was a first for me. And then another first for me was hearing that, like, NFL punishment is goal line to goal line sprints and push-ups. I thought that was pretty funny. It kind of it humanized them to me in a way, but like, I don't know.
There's definitely, I mean, conditioning and stuff like that they do, but like, and I've never heard of it as a punishment. The only other time I know that there was a fight was, I guess it was like about 5, maybe 6 years at the Carolina Panthers back when Cam Newton was there, and it was the year they actually went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton was fighting Josh Norman. Do you remember him, that DB?
Yeah,
and
really?
They were fighting. Yeah, they fought like the beginning of the season, and they actually went on to go to the Super Bowl. So I think fighting. I mean, depending on the leadership, and I'm not so super familiar with the leadership over at the Giants, but depending on the leadership, that fight could either bring you closer or it could completely tear you apart. At that point, you're fighting because you care, and those your blood, sweat, and tears. Or you could be like, fuck that guy. That is not my teammate. So, but the coaching and the different coordinators really need to build some camaraderie around this, and not just punish, but reconcile things.
You know what I just heard from all that? Giants to the Super Bowl.
I don't know if that's a great comparison, but if it's the same, that means whoever's they're playing against, in the who will be the AFC is going to win because Panthers lost.
Hey, I didn't say win. I just said Giants to the Super Bowl. Let's see what happens.
Yikes.
Send it.
Yeah. So, weird thing happened to me, or I guess it was 2 days ago. I was laying on the couch, and Rachel walked in the room. She's like, "Oh, you got a boner." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I just got to pee." And she's like, "What does that mean?" And I'm like, I guess she's never had this happen since she's a girl. I'm like, "You've never had to pee so bad that you're like," I'm like, "You've never had to
that
pee
your dick
so
gets
bad."
hard?
Yeah, that your dick gets hard. And I wanted to know, I don't know if that's just like a me thing or not, but have you ever had to pee so bad that your penis kind of got hard?
No, I don't think so. If I have, I haven't noticed it.
I've noticed it all my life, and when I was younger, before I knew how the body worked, like what a bladder was, I always just assumed oh, dick's going to my fucking penis and blowing it up like a balloon, and then when you go pee, it just deflates it. And she didn't believe me, so I'm like, all right, well, come on, I'm gonna go pee, just come watch. And she watches, and it goes, and just down to a regular sized penis.
Do you have a leak in your bladder, dude?
No, so it led me to do some more research, and I found out that when you have your bladder's full, it can actually stimulate part of your spinal cord that triggers when you wake up with morning wood. Most of the time, it's because you have to pee, and when you have a boner, you're trying not to come when you have a boner, so it really triggers that reflex, so it makes you not pee the bed.
I did not know that.
Isn't that fucking crazy? Because the
entire
entire I kind of figured when I asked you about it, you were gonna be like, "No, it's never happened to me, bro. Nope, you're the only one with an inflatable penis," and it's just but when I saw that, I'm like, "Oh, thank God, I'm not the only one."
What do you mean, Rachel? You don't ever get a boner when you have to piss? that was golden.
I don't. You just kind of. I look at everybody as being almost the same, and then I'm like, "Oh, you got different genitalia," so it's a little different down there for her. But who fucking knows? I mean, I don't know what it looks like when a girl has to go pee. So maybe it gets puffy down there. Who knows?
It might.
Yeah, you got that. Instead of morning wood, it's like morning puff. So
there you go, morning puff.
Yeah, but you got puffy vagina? You got puffy puss?
Your pussy ever doesn't swell up when you have to piss really bad? What the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh my God.
The fuck?
Oh man. But so last night, you didn't get online, so we didn't get the game at all. So I was kind of and it's like I was saying earlier this episode, it's hot as hell down here in Florida. So I'm just trying to stay inside and keep it cool. So I was like, I'm gonna watch some movies, and I always will look at some of my favorite movies of all time, depending on how if it's your favorite movie of all time, you're probably gonna like the other stuff that director will produce.
Yep.
So my favorite movie of all time is Interstellar, and I looked at Christopher Nolan, who is the director of it, and other movies he's made, and he made this movie called The Prestige, which is about these magicians, and they're trying to compete against each other to be the best in the world, or best in England at the time, because it was the mid 1800s, and it's this crazy movie, and I don't want to get too much into it at all to spoil anything for anybody who might listen to it or might watch that movie, but great movie. And it's so good, in fact, I got it on my top 5 of all time movies so far. And I want to know what is your top 5 movies of all time?
Well, I definitely get what you're saying with the director thing, because I for sure have a favorite director. But so I guess I'll start off with some of his movies. Inglourious Bastards. Django is probably second of that director.
I don't want to sound stupid, but is that Martin Scorsese who did that?
No, that's Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino, yeah. He's a good director.
I love every fucking movie that guy has ever put out. They are
Yeah.
so goddamn good and different. But I'll just keep it at 2. Those are my top 2 from him. Then Step Brothers, classic. Got to put Step Brothers in there.
I never even thought about putting a comedy in there. I like serious movies.
Me
I
too.
love
most of the
comedies
time.
though too.
Yeah, as you know, I don't really watch anything that isn't funny or incredibly violent. So, Step Brothers, classic. Have you ever seen 13 Hours in Benghazi?
I've not.
It's sorry, Jim from The Office, and who's the dude that Pam was married to before she got with Jim in The Office?
Oh,
What the hell was his name?
Roy.
Roy and
Yeah.
Jim were in it. They were the two of the main characters. Jim was the main character. It was
That's an interesting duo, especially if you're a big Office fan.
but dude, it was not anything like The Office. It was do you remember that Hillary Clinton scandal with the emails that were deleted with the
13,000.
Benghazi? Yeah, with the Benghazi US embassy attack.
Yeah.
So it was a movie on that, and Jim was the main character, and then Roy was one of the other main characters. That was a fantastic movie. That was I believe
good?
that was yes, I believe that was a Martin Scorsese movie, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably wrong because there's another dude that makes war movies too, but that was a fantastic
I'm terrible with names. So yeah, I mean, I'll forgive you. I don't know if our audience will, but I will.
All
So
right.
what are your other 2?
That was 3.
Yeah. So what are your other 2?
Oh yeah, I'm retarded. Sorry. SWAT. No, that was 4. SWAT is my 5th. Have you ever seen SWAT?
That's not 4.
Step Brothers and Glorious Bastards.
Oh, you said
13
Step
Hours and Django.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
SWAT. Have you ever seen SWAT?
I have not.
It's an older movie. It was like 2005. It's just I forget Samuel L. Jackson's in it. LL Cool J's in it. I forget the other dude's name, but it was just a movie about like a SWAT team in LA. That was one of my first favorite movies that I've watched a bunch of times when I was younger. Kind of got me into like the violent movies. And all went downhill from there. But
Yeah.
what are your top 5?
So my top 5, it fluctuates, but it's pretty steadily these movies. Like and I mentioned, The Prestige is pretty new, as of last night. So my number 1 favorite movie is Interstellar. It is that one. That one does not shift ever. That is the best movie I've ever seen. By one of my friends, Jane. When that movie was in theaters, we went to go see it in theaters 3 to 4 times. I have to experience it as many times with the surround sound, the big screen, just to get every ounce of enjoyment out of it. And I love outer space, like the opportunities. It feels like just like anything could happen out there. And that movie does a really good job of encapsulating real science that is backed by physics. Like, I guess the black hole that they have in that movie is like the realest example of a black hole ever. So it's really cool to see these different perceptions and these different elements thrown in all into a way that it actually does make scientific sense, whether we're intelligent enough to understand it or not. The second one is more of a comedy, but I love movies based on real life, and you'll see it with another selection later. It's The Wolf of Wall Street. What a fucking movie.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so I think that movie is extremely long, but like the first 3/4 of a movie is just excellent. Like at the end where the boat's sinking and his life goes to shit, I'm like, not so much about it, but when they're in the beginning, they're like,
dude.
But I love
can't
that
believe
shit.
I forgot about that, dude. That really is one of the best movies.
And Jordan Belfort is just like such a cool guy. Like he has his own podcast. Definitely go check that out. And I really just love like how he interacts with people on social media. So seeing who he actually is has made that movie so much better because I'm like, fuck, that movie's accurate.
Dude, his Twitter and TikTok are like very entertaining.
Oh, yeah. His TikTok is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and sometimes he reviews scenes and he's like, well, it happened like 99% that way, but this didn't happen and that happened. I'm like, how the fuck do you even remember? Weren't you just so fucking high all the time?
Were you like 7 Quaaludes deep, dude?
Yeah. Like, I love when he was talking about the ship sinking, and he's like, the part that was really accurate about this was, I really just wanted my bag of Quaaludes. Like, the life that man lived, I don't want that life, but I wish I had some of those experiences.
Oh, for sure.
Like, he's someone I would just love to sit down and talk to. Not even from like I mean, professionally, I love that, because like the things you can learn, but I love poking someone's brain and like pulling the knowledge out, whether it be funny or professional. I love hearing stories and life events from other people.
Yeah, I agree. That dude would be fucking awesome to talk to.
So, I talked about The Prestige. I actually moved that to number 3. It was so good. I think I need to watch it one more time to really get the whole thing. But movies with a twist, like I knew where that movie was going, and it went there, and then it went 18 other ways that I never would have realized. And I love a movie where it keeps you on your toes. And it drags you along. You're like, oh, yeah, you know it's going. And it fucking pulls the rug out from under you. You fall flat on your face, and you love it. You should definitely watch it, Bob. Super good. That and Interstellar. You would love those fucking movies.
Yeah, I've never seen Interstellar. Are they both like on Netflix or something? Where'd you watch it?
I just watched them online. Like,
okay.
Interstellar, like I was saying, I watched on like in theaters and stuff. And I've seen it like... We bought it on Amazon and just different different streaming services online that you could find them, like maybe a cheap rental.
Gotcha.
So this one I guarantee is on no one's list, and it's a disaster movie. It's The Day After Tomorrow. You remember that movie?
Yes.
I love that movie. I usually hate disaster movies like 2012 or San Andreas or any of those end of the world movies. I think are just terrible. They're okay to watch, but I'm never like favorite movie. But Day After Tomorrow, I have such a good emotional tie with that with my dad. We always watched it, and I was actually over their house the other day, and the movie was on, and I just like had to sit there and watch it.
Dude, it's a good one.
It really is. And
go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, it's just so different than any other movie that I've seen, and I think the actors in it are pretty good too.
Yeah, that's the only like doomsday end of the world type movie I've ever watched, except for that one. God damn it, I forget the name of it, with Will Smith, and he's in the White House or whatever.
Independence Day?
Yes, Independence Day. Those are the only two like doomsday.
That one's okay, but I wouldn't even know if I would consider that doomsday, or that's more like sci-fi, I guess.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I mean, you are right. Those aliens fucked the world up. But then we fucked them up. We sent them a little bit of a virus, and they didn't know how to handle it. So, fuck the aliens.
Fuck those aliens, dude.
Last movie I mentioned I love movies based on real life, and I'm a big business guy. So, the movie, it's called Jobs. Ashton Kutcher played Steve Jobs, and it was watching them like build Apple, and watching Steve just be this fucking asshole. But I loved the passion that he had for all the projects that he did, and the way that Apple really has changed the world, depending whether you guys want to admit it or not. The iPod, the iPhone, everything that they've done has made the world better. Whether directly or indirectly, their focus on design for aesthetics and functionality has changed the game forever. I definitely believe that Bill Gates stole a lot from Apple, from Microsoft. So those are the two biggest operating systems right there. So you could really thank the whole entire computers, that like the computers for Apple. They really made the PC viable. And Ashton Kutcher's just a great actor, so I loved watching him in that.
Yeah, that dude, Apple and Steve Jobs. Like, I remember when Steve Jobs would, I forget what the hell they call them, when they announced the new
Keynotes.
iPhones.
Yeah.
No, is that what they're called? Keynotes?
It's like a keynote, product unveil, something like where he sits in that big like stage and he's in his black sweater and his acid washed blue jeans.
Yes, dude, I used to watch those every year because I've had 2 Androids since like smartphones came out and like were actually good. And ever since then, like I would bounce from an iPhone to an Android every year. For 4 years I did it, and then the last time I jumped over to an iPhone was the iPhone 5 or whatever was after the 5, because I don't think they called it the 6. I think they called it something else that year. Was there? Okay, so then it was. The phone I bounced back to was a 6, and ever since then, dude, I was like, no. And every year I would like, no, I'm sticking with iPhone. And every year I would watch that product unveil with Steve Jobs on the stage and like announcing the new features of iOS and the new iPads and iMacs and what they can do. And every year I was just like, dude, like it's such a simple product, but it's the best one, dude.
Yeah, and it's just, I love it when you almost get that perspective of, you didn't, like, everyone today just will view Apple being like, oh, that's $1 trillion company. It's like, no, that company started in a garage and they worked their fucking ass off. And I don't think, I mean, Steve Jobs is obviously dead now, rest in peace. But I think that it's really interesting to see like where Apple is now. They're not nearly as innovative without Steve. So he was a lot of that heart and soul of that company. I mean, right now it's just new phone, new iPad, new this, new that. It's like, but what a new product. Like, maybe the watch, but Steve might have had something to do with the watch.
Probably did, for sure. Because he died in what, 2014?
I want to say 11.
11? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have, for sure. But, like, what, other than the watch, what the fuck else new did they put out? That little tracker thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, but it's just so cool. And like you mentioned it, like, so I actually have one of my first smartphone ever on my desk. That for some reason, it's this little thing. Dude, and
I remember those.
Yeah, I remember this. And after this, I got an iPhone 4S. And I remember I was like, I will never get a fucking smartphone like that again. I'll only get iPhone. And my mom she bought me a Galaxy S4 back in the day. And that was okay, but it was so shitty. I went back iPhone 6, and now I got like the 12. It's like, just this great phone. But the movie does such a good job of really inspiring. And every time I watch the movie, I'm like, fuck, I need to build a business.
Dude, the iPhone 4 and 5 were the best looking iPhones that they ever made. I wish that they would go back to that design. Do you remember how nice those were?
The 12 is kind of like that.
Do they have is it like squared again?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, for sure. Because, dude, I love the look of that silver bezel on the outside of it with glass on both sides, and it's squared. It's not rounded anymore.
Yeah, I hate the rounded. It reminded me a lot of like the 3GS. Remember that?
Yeah, I hated that phone. That phone was so goddamn ugly.
Dude, do you remember all the weird apps that we would have on our phone? Like when we had like the iPod touches and stuff like that? We'd have like a Zippo lighter. And I remember like people having like a beer and they're like turning to the side. They're like, go, 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 go. And I'm like, what the fuck were we doing? But I do remember this cool app. And I don't mean to drag this out a little too much, but it was called Bump It. Do you remember that?
I do. I remember all those good games.
Bump It wasn't a game.
Bump It was the one where you would hit it and you could transfer photos and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Like, why is that not a fucking function?
I don't know. Like, that was a third-party app. That was a fucking third-party app that made everything so much easier. Like, we have AirDrop now, but that's iPhone to iPhone. If I'm not mistaken, Bump It, you could have done it with any other smartphone that accepted the app, right?
I'm not sure, but like even AirDrop, you have to sit there and press it. Like I think it would be really cool just to take your phone and be like, boom, and
for sure.
Just bump it. Like why even press the button? Just do the physical action of it. If you're in the same room, like here's my number, boop.
Yeah, here's my Snapchat, boop. Like, it's just simple shit like that. Or if you need like Apple Pay, here. I guess you would still have to punch something in though for paying someone.
Maybe. Do you remember the whip? Like in 6th grade, there's always that guy where they're dating a girl and the girl has her like a fucking dog collar on the guy's cock because he's whipped. And you would take that whip and he's like, whoosh, whoosh. And do you remember that?
No, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You don't remember like when we would call people whipped and we would take the whip app?
No, I didn't know there was a whip app. I remember calling people whipped. Wow.
Yeah,
I
like
actually
there was like
forgot.
it was like an Indiana Jones app, and it was like, whoosh, whoosh. and I'm not saying these girls actually had a dog collar around these guys' cocks, but it was like these guys want to sit there and mess around with the boys, and she's like, sit, and he's like, okay.
Dude, I missed out on so many fucking great opportunities by not having that app.
Dude, I remember sitting at Pizza Works, and that was a thing like people would do.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
I remember like
times.
I remember like Doodle Jump.
Doodle Jump was a good game.
Doodle Jump was a shit. Pocket God. I don't know if you remember that game.
I don't remember that. I remember the one where there's a fan and you had to throw the paper ball into a trash can, depending on the way the wind was blowing. That was
I
good.
love that one. Paper toss.
Yeah.
that was my
Remember
favorite.
when you wanted to be a tech reviewer on YouTube?
Yeah, dude. I used to be a big tech nerd.
And there was, I forget the guy that you used to watch, and I remember
Ty's
you
iPhone review.
Yeah,
the monkey.
I don't know. He was a black man, and he was really energetic and really just super good. Like, I wasn't big in the tech back then, and I remember after you showed me his video, I went out and bought an OtterBox.
The only one I remember is that Ty iPhone review or whatever the hell he was. He was this tech reviewer dude that would skateboard, because I was also into skateboarding at the time, and he also had a pet monkey, which monkeys are like my favorite animals. I think they're awesome. And I would watch his shit all the time. That's the only one I remember from then.
I want to say it's like Techno Review or something like that. And like, you should find your old YouTube thing where you would subscribe to these people and like
I've
just
tried.
see what. Man, there are so many good tech reviews. I think you would be excellent at it, because you really do love that. You love every little feature about things.
Dude, but anymore, I'm lucky to even know how to like do this. Like,
I know.
Dude, I'm so far removed now.
That's how I am. When I was in high school, my first real job I got was I was an IT help desk, and I used to go over, and most people just like, the keyboard was unplugged. They're like, my keyboard isn't working. I'm like, is it plugged in? Yeah, go over there. It's unfucking plugged. I don't know how to do anything anymore. Like, if it's not plug and play, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I don't know anything. Like, we had to get new Wi-Fi, and Rachel brought me the Best Buy, and I was pretty much just like a sugar daddy at that point, just buying it. Rachel knew exactly what to get, and I'm like, I fucking guess. And she comes home, plugs it all in, does all that shit. I'm like, where do you learn this? I feel like a grandma at this point.
Yeah, I'm so far removed from all this shit, dude. I like you said, if it's not plug and play, it's chalked. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. But yeah. Do you have anything else? Oh, actually, I got one more thing I wanted to tell you. So you said you love monkeys, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So I was reading this article that there are monkeys in Florida. Did you know that?
No.
In this one specific part of Florida, it's like southern Florida, and there's actually wild monkeys, and they're not native to Florida. But what people think happened is during hurricanes, some monkeys got out of a zoo and started populating.
What? And they're just free roaming monkeys.
Yeah.
Dude,
Like,
no
they're like in a state park area where it's all like an isolated forest.
Dude, that's awesome. I want to
Yeah,
go to that
it's cool.
fucking state park.
Well, when you come down in October, we can go apartment shopping for you, and we'll also go to that forest. We'll really seal the deal when you see a monkey.
Yeah, I'm down. We'll start looking for apartments by that state park too.
Yeah, we'll just get a tent, plop it down there,
We can find a baby one and make it my pet.
bring it home. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be the mascot of the Cracked One Open podcast. Be like, monkey, go get me a seltzer.
Dude, it'll be sitting right here on my chair, just chilling.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
But-
that's all I got.
That's all you got. That's all I got too. But if you guys stuck around this long, you're a real one. If you are looking for a different way to experience the Cracked One Open podcast and see our sexy faces, and if we ever get a monkey, check out our YouTube channel. We post the video version of this podcast every Friday at noon. But I still encourage you to check it out on all major podcast platforms. And if you enjoyed, definitely drop a subscribe and like the video or review the podcast on whatever you listen to. Until the next one, I'll see you guys later. Peace out.
Talk to you guys next week.